Hello everyone and welcome you all to another chapter of CapCut semi-advanced tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 8 where we'll be making an Instagram story in CapCut. Okay, so here we'll be learning how you can actually make an Instagram story in CapCut, how to actually upload your things and how you will be able to take different icons and stuff from here. Okay, so we'll be learning about all of that in detail here in this particular chapter. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the home page of the CapCut. So from here, I will be opening up a new file. Okay, so here, as you guys can see over here, I already do have my workspace. So first, let's see what story we're gonna make here. I already did a demo. Okay, you guys can check this out. So this is the one we basically did, okay, and we'll be doing it over here as well. Okay, so now let's come back and let's import the medias using which we can basically work or which we will work in. So let's come over here. Let's take the raw files. Okay, so let's come here. Let's take this and let's come here and let's take this one. Okay, and I'll just open both of these up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to now come here and just place this thing here in the timeline. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, I have just placed both of this right over here. And now if I do want to trim it up, okay, so let me just trim it up till here. Okay, so now I will just decrease it by 15 seconds. Okay, so I'll just decrease it by 15 seconds over here. And the total duration of my video is 15 seconds. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is once I do have this video, okay, let's just play this thing and let's see how it actually looks. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have this two video. Let's look at this cut transition. Okay, so now let's just pause this one. And what I'm going to do now is come here into the adjustment layer and take up this adjustment panel. Okay, so take this adjustment layer, and if you want to put it in the whole video, okay, you guys can come here and you guys can basically put. Okay, so now from here, if you do want to go a bit light, okay, you guys can do that. Or if you want to go a bit on the lighter side, okay, a warm side, you guys can come here. Okay, so I will just go kind of like this over here. And also let's check the first video. Okay, so here you guys can see how it actually looks. Okay, so this one was before and for this video as well. And now over here, if I just unlock this one, okay, so if I just click on this one, this is how it actually looks. Okay, so here I do have this adjustment layer. I have basically put up this adjustment from here, and let's just increase or decrease the brightness a little bit, increase the contrast, and if you want to increase the highlight a little bit, you guys can do that. And let's put some shadows over here. Okay, let's put some shadows. And now let's work with the blacks and a white a little bit. Okay, so I'll just sharpen this image a little bit. Okay, or this particular frame. And over here, I will also change the clarity. Okay, and if you do want to go with the vignette, okay, you guys can come here and go a bit dark on both the sides. Okay, so if I come here, take my playhead, and here you guys can see, if you want to see it in a full screen, you guys can actually see that over here. Okay, so I'll go back now, and the next thing what I'm going to do is I will come here on top. Okay, and from here I will take a defaulted text box. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have my default text box over here. So I will just click right here and I do have my default text box. Okay, so I'll just place it right over here and maybe increase the timing till here. Let's take this text box, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it right over here on top. And you guys can come here also in the properties panel and go backspace. Let's on my caps lock from the keyboard. I will write business and I'll click on enter to go down. Okay, so I'll just write business strategy. So from here, basically, I'll be able to use the kind of font I do want to use. Okay, so if I take that fervent, okay, I will just increase the size. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this thing. Okay, and if you do want to move, you guys will be able to move it from here as well. Okay, so let's come here, and if you want to decrease the size, you guys will be able to decrease using shift. Okay, so let's come here again, let's select this. Okay, so if you do want to move it, you guys can come here and you guys can just move it from here as well. Okay, so let's try to move it more here on this particular side. Okay, so let's come here. If you do want to move, you can bring it over here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this whole text. Okay, if I do want to change the color, I can come here into this color option and I can go with something dark. Okay, so this one looks good, and this is also placed quite central. Okay, so if I come here and if I go to the alignment option, here you guys can see I do have just aligned this one. Okay, so now I will just move this frame out. Okay, so I will just move it right over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some keyframes. Okay, so let's first use the keyframes over here. Okay, here in the blend option. Okay, so I will come here at the beginning. Okay, and from here what I'll do is I will just add up a keyframe. Okay, and from here I will just increase the opacity to 0. Okay, so again, I will just come right back over here. Okay, so let's go down, and now I will just move my keyframe again onto the right hand side a little bit. Okay, so I will come right over here at this point, and I'll just change the opacity till 100. Okay, so here I also do have another keyframe. Let's come here. Okay, at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to click to add a keyframe, and lastly I will come right over here, and from here now I will just change the opacity again to 0. Okay, so here I do have 4 keyframes. Okay, so let's check this out. So this is how it will basically appear. Okay, so here as you guys can see, let's just play this thing. Okay, so let's come here, let's just play it. Okay, and now here you guys can see this keyframe looks quite good. Okay, so now when it disappears again, what I'll do is I'll take another default text box. What I'll do is I'll just put this text box right over here, and I will just increase the size of the text box. Okay, so now I will come here, I will put up this text box, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my playhead over here in this text box here as well. And now I will just bring my text box. Let's come here, go backspace, and let's write marketing and strategic help. Okay, so now here you guys can see I do have this particular word, and if you do want to decrease the size, okay, you guys can come here and you guys can basically decrease the size. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can maybe put this one somewhere over here in the center. Okay, so you guys can place it over here, and now what you can do is you guys can come over here down. Okay, and now you guys can just check this curve and all. Okay, so let's go with the background from here. Okay, I do want to put some background over here. Okay, so I will come here, and what I'll do is now if I just try to select this one, and if I just try to zoom in to the timeline, here you guys can see I can zoom in, and here if you guys notice right over here, now let's change the positioning of this one here as well. Okay, so first I will just select the X offset. Okay, so here I will just keep it over here, and you guys can actually change this one. Okay, so I will just decrease it to 35. And over here, you guys can actually select the width. Okay, and from here, you guys can select the height. Okay, so here, this is how it actually looks. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I want it to appear in a great way. Okay, so for that, again, I will just try to add some keyframes. Okay, so let's come down, and from here, let's try to go to this blend mode. Okay, and from here, let's add some keyframes. Okay, so I will just come here at the starting. Okay, so I will just come here and it's snapping. And what I'll do is I will just add a keyframe, and from here, I will go back and I will just select this keyframe. Okay, so by mistakenly I do have selected this one, and I can just click on delete. Okay, so let's come to this one. Okay, so I will just come over here, and over here let's try to add some blend. Okay, so now I will just click on add a keyframe, and what I'll do is I'll just decrease the opacity, and afterwards, again, I will just put off my frame right over here. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I am going to increase the opacity. Okay. So after that, I will come here till this point and I will just add another keyframe. Okay. So I'll just add another keyframe. And lastly, over here, let me just increase this side a little bit. Okay. Let's come here. At last. Okay, and let's add another keyframe over here as well. Okay, so here I do have another keyframe. So now if we just look at this thing, let me just play this thing out. Let's see how it actually looks. Okay, so over here you guys can see now it will just come here and it will just change its color quite like this. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys have understood about the keyframing parts. Okay, so now we will try to move some of these icons over here. Okay, like we will try to put some join us icons and stuff over here. Okay, so for that, again, what I'm going to do is I am going to come here. Okay, and let's search those things in stickers. Okay, so if I just type join us and let's click on enter, and over here you guys can see there are a lot of things right over here. Okay, so if I just uh, click over here, okay, so let's click onto this join us option. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I am going to come right over here. Okay, let's say I will just come over here at this point, and what I'm going to do is I am going to bring this sticker right over here. Okay, let's place this sticker over on top of this one. Let's come and just let's put it at the beginning. Okay, so now I will just select this part. Okay, and I will just place it right over here. Okay, so now this looks good. Okay, and let's come here, bring my playhead from here, and let's just bring it down. Okay, so you guys can just put this thing here in the down part, and from here if you want to scale it up and down, or if you do want to put any kind of animation, you guys can basically put on some animation as well. Okay, so I will just put on an animation. Let's come over here, let's select out, and from here I can just select this fade out. Okay, so I can just select this fade out over here. So now let's see this particular part itself. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, this was the video which I had just created. And over here, let's click and let's add this join us icon. Okay, so let's come here and let's put it right over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the size from this corner as well. Okay, so let's come here. Let's just join this thing part, and let's select this one and let's click on shift to decrease the size over here, and let's just place it quite over here. Okay, so over here what you can also do is you guys can also add some animation. Okay, you guys can come here and check all of these animations. Okay, So let's come over here and let's go for some animation. Okay, so let's see what kind of animation will look good. Let's go with fade in. Okay, and over here in this option, uh, let's come here. Let's go to the in option. Let's go with spring. Okay. And now I will just come here at the ending as well. Okay. And what I'll do is I will just go and click on out and I'll just take a fade out. Okay. So let's come here. Let's go back. And from here, as you guys can see, this one also looks kind of good. Okay. So you guys can come here and let's see how it actually looks. Okay. So here now this is the transition, and if you don't want any cut transition, you guys can also add different kind of transitions over here. Okay, so let's come here and let's try all of this. Okay, so over here, so now let's come and let's put this one here in the center. Okay, let's come here and let's add it here in this center. Okay, so now let's come to this option and you guys can actually choose the duration. Okay, so let's go for this kind of duration and let's see how it transits. Okay, so now let's just play this thing up. So here, as you guys can see, this is the video which I have just created. Okay, so this is how you guys can actually make up some stunning Instagram story for your Instagram. Okay, so here you guys can see now, if I just move this one, the transition is also nice. Okay, so here you guys can see the transition. And if you just want to select the transition, and you guys can also check the duration. So let's go for 1 second itself. Okay, so now let's see. So here you guys can see the transition was quite smooth. Okay, so now once I have put this one over here as well, and if you now want to put any kind of effects, okay, you guys can come here and you guys can actually check for different kind of effects. Okay, so now here you guys can see there are different kind of effects right over here. Okay, and here as well. Okay, so from here basically let's select or download this one first. If you want to put on, you guys can basically put on in one. Okay, so let's come here, let's just put out this effect and let's just place it right over here and let's try to see a preview. Okay, so let's come here and let's just play this thing up, and here you guys can see this one looks quite great. Okay, so here you guys can see this one looks quite nice, and now you guys can actually select this one and let's try to put it over here on top. Okay, so now this file is getting actually downloaded. Let's increase this one, and from here you guys can just increase this thing over here as well. So now let's play this thing up. So here you guys can see the effect looks quite okay over here, but with this one it looks quite good. Okay, so that's what I feel. Basically you guys might have different idea about it. So let's just delete this one and let's keep only the last one which I have. Okay, so I'll come here, I will click on the delete key. Okay, so this is how this Instagram story will start. Okay, and the last thing which is left is just going with some audio. Okay, so now I will just go for adventure. Okay, I want to give some storytelling music over here. Okay, so I'll just click on adventure and let's try to play this thing up. Let's download it. So let's take this one. So let's take this and let's just place it right over here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to come here and click on to zoom to fit timeline, and I'm going to trim this thing down. Okay, let's come here, let's come to this point as well, and let's just trim it up. Okay, so let's come here and let's just trim it up accordingly. And now again, I will just click on zoom to fit the timeline. And if you do want to increase it, you guys can basically increase or just trim it over here as well. Let's try to see now this particular video. Okay, let's just play this thing up. So yeah, this is how you guys will be able to create some stunning Instagram story in CapCut. Okay. So now I hope you guys have understood this class and now you'll be able to make your own. Okay. So here first I do have actually added different kind of text boxes. Okay. And before that I did the adjustment layer. And after that here on top you guys can see I do use two stickers, and over on top I did have put some effects in a particular area. I have showed you guys about transition and also about this audio box. Okay, so let's add some fade in. Okay, so from here you guys will be able to select the volume and all. Let's go with 0.5 or let's go with 0.8. Okay, so let's come here and now you guys can see there is a small curve and a keyframe over here. Okay, so if you want to select this one and if you want to drag it, you guys can manually do that over here as well. Okay, so now you guys can see my fade in fade out option is changing. Okay, so I'll just skip to 0.8, and now if you just play this thing, you guys can see the music is starting quite slow. Okay, so now let's just pause this thing out again and let's come here onto the media. And lastly, what I'm going to do is I am going to come here and I'm going to click on export. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have to select what title I do want to save it. Okay, so I will just type Instagram story 2. Okay, so I will just save this one as Instagram's story 2, and I'll just select the file where I do want to export. Okay, so I'll just select this folder and I will just click on export. So here basically my file got exported, and let's come here, let's cancel this thing out and let's just see over here. Let's go to desktop, and from here let's go to my resource file, and from my resource file let's go to videos, and I do have saved in the name of Instagram story 2. Okay, so I will come here and as you guys can see now here I do have the video. So here you guys can see that is the 15 seconds Instagram story which I do have over here. So I hope you guys have understood this class and now you guys will be able to make some stunning videos quite like this. So in next class we'll be learning more about how you'll be able to learn more social media video editing skills. Okay, so see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone. Hello everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of CapCut Semi-Advanced Tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 9, where I'll be showing you guys by creating a TikTok video. So here we'll be learning how you can actually give some nice effects to your video. Okay, if you want to put some slow-mo and stuff, you guys can also do that right over here. Okay, so I'll be adding different kind of effects over here into all of those videos. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the home page of the CapCut. So now let's create a new project. Let's come to import and let's import a video. Okay, so let's come down. Let's take this video and let's open it up. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have this particular video, and if I want to drag it here into my timeline, you guys can see I have just dragged it here into the timeline over here. Okay, so I can come here and I can just trim this thing down. Suppose I just want to trim it over here, and I will just trim a bit from this part as well. Okay, so I will just trim a bit over here, and I'll just place it quite like this. So it's 7 second and 10 frames. Okay, the total duration of the video. Okay, so now over here, what I can do is I can just give this one cut by Control B. Okay, so I will just move my playhead again right over here. Okay, I can just give Control B. Okay, so here now I do have three parts of the same video. Okay, so in the first part, I will just take my playhead as I can see the preview. I will come here and I am going to put out some effects. Okay, so I'll just go here onto the effects option. Okay, you guys can select effects. Otherwise, you can basically put on some adjustments. Okay, so if you come here and if you want to put on some adjustment, like you want to change the speed and stuff, so come here to the speed, and from here if you want to increase the speed, okay, you guys can come here and basically increase the speed. Okay, and now over here what I'm going to do is I am going to decrease the speed. Okay, so for that I can come here onto duration, and what I'll do is I will just go on top. Okay, so here now I will just decrease the speed by 75%. Okay, so let's go with 75. Okay, so now over here what I'll do is I will just fasten this particular part as well. So now again go to speed option, and from here now if you do want to fasten it, okay, you guys can actually fasten it from here as well. Okay, so now let's come here, let's just increase it. Okay, so let's come here, let's do 1.5, and the total duration is now 6 second and 21 frames. Let's play this thing. Okay, and here you guys can see the effect how it looks right now. Okay, so this one looks quite nice. So what I'll do is I'll just zoom to fit here in the timeline, you guys can see. Now the next thing is I'm going to add on some text box. Okay, or let me also put some effects if you do want to put some effects. Let's come here and let's only put this one which we have already seen in our last class. Okay, so I can come here and I can just put over here on top, and what I can do is I can basically see the preview. Okay, so here now if I just play this, okay, so let's play this, and here you guys can see the effect. Okay, otherwise if you want to just select this one and if you want to click on delete, you guys can delete this as well. So now let's try to put this one. Okay, and now let's try to see a preview. Okay, so now let's come here, let's see a preview. Okay, so you guys can see how it actually looks. Okay, so this is how you guys can actually work. Otherwise you guys can also decrease the timing of this particular effect. Let's come here and let's just decrease the timing quite like this. Okay, so I can just come over here and can just play this thing out. Okay, so here you guys can see now this one looks quite nice. Again, I will just come here and go to text, select the default text, and now what I'm going to do is I am going to increase the text till here. Okay, so I'll just take this box till here. Then I will come here, go to my text box in my properties panel, and from here I will type the Rain Cafe. Okay, so I will just write the Rain Cafe, and what I'll do is I'll just increase the size, and I will just decrease this one, maybe place it right somewhere here. Okay, and now I will just change the font type. Okay, so what kind of font do I want to take? I can just select the font basically from here. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have different kind of fonts. Okay, so let's go with this one. Okay, and now if you do want to put it in one side, you guys can also put it. Okay, so now if you want to import anything, come here and click on import and select this desktop, go to the resource file, and from here now let's go to images. Okay, so over here if you want to take any kind of image from here, you guys can actually take. Otherwise let's go back. Okay, so let's come here, and if you try to check over here, here also you don't have that many icons. Okay, so now Let's go here. Okay, let's just close this thing out. I can also search different things from stickers. Okay, so what I can do is I can just type location. Okay, so I will just type location and I'll just click on enter. And here you guys can see there are different kind of location icon which I can use. Okay, so you guys can take this one, and here you guys can see I do have this thing over here on my screen. Okay, so I can just come here and maybe place this one right over here on top. Okay, so I will just place both of this over here, and I'll just increase the size of this one as well. Okay, place it and just place it right over here. Okay, so now you guys can see this looks quite good. Okay, and here this part is basically done, I guess. And if you come here, let's take this one and let's place this over here as well. Okay, so now this one looks good. And if you want to give some colors and all, you guys can come here. And if you want to do some animation, let's come here. Let's go with this animation. Let's come to this option as well. And from here, let's go to animation, and there are a lot of kind of animation which we can do from here as well. Okay, so I'll just use this one over here. Let's take my playhead, let's come down, and from here let's go to out, and from here also I will just use the fade out option. Okay, so I will just use the fade out option quite like this. Come to this one right over here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up some keyframes. Okay, so over here I will come to this blend option. Otherwise, what I can also do is I can just change the scaling. Okay, so I will just add this afterwards. Let's come here for now, and over here I can just go down. Let's change the blend. Okay, so let's come here and let's try to change the blend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up a keyframe here in the beginning. So I have added a keyframe right over here. And when I come to this particular point, what I'm going to do is I am going to give this one opacity. Okay, so let's come here. I do have 100 opacity. Let's decrease it to 0. Let's come here again at this point and let's increase the opacity T 200. Okay, so I do have added this one over here as well. Okay, so now over here, as I have added another keyframe, okay, at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to come over here, and over here as well, I am going to add another keyframe. Okay, so for that, let's come down and let's add a keyframe over here. And lastly, I will come to this last and I will just add another keyframe where I will just give the opacity as 0. Okay, so over here now I will just come and I'll just change the opacity T to 0. Okay, so let's come here, let's change the opacity to 0, and now let's just play this thing up. Okay, so now if you just play this thing, let's see how it actually looks. Okay, so this is how it will appear, and this is the video, and you guys can just end the video quite like this. Okay, so now what I'm also going to do at this point is I will come over here, and suppose I want to add any kind of stickers. Okay, so I'll come here and I'll add another sticker. So over here, let's search for weekend. Okay, so I will just type weekend and I'll just click on enter, and here you guys can see there are many over here. Otherwise, let's try to go to my media, let's select import, and from here let's go to desktop, let's go to my resource file, and from here I will come to the images option. Okay, so over here you guys can see I do have this images. So what I can do is I can basically put up this image and I can just open it up. Okay, so I'll just open this thing up, and over here now I can actually select this one and place it right over here on top. Okay, so I can come here and I can just place this thing over here. Okay, so I can just place it quite like this, and if I do want to give this thing up a rotation, you guys can just give this thing up a rotation over here as well. Okay, So you guys can come here and maybe just decrease the size accordingly. Okay, so I will just put it over here. And what I'm going to do now is, again, I will go to the stickers option, and from here you guys can see I do have all of this nice presets. Okay, so I can just click onto this one, and if you want me to add, I can also add this particular sticker over here as well. Okay, so come here and just put on the sticker. Okay, just place it quite over here. Okay, so just add this one, and what you can do is maybe increase the size, and if you do want to give this thing up a rotation, you guys can come here and add this one a rotation quite like this. Okay, place it, and now just select this one and place it over here as well. Okay, so now just place it, and what you can do is just select both of this layer. Okay, so now if you do want to select this one and this layer as well, okay, you guys can come here and just place both of this as well accordingly. Okay, so if you want to give this thing a rotation, now let's come here and let's give this thing up a rotation. You guys can just place these things over here. Okay, so now over here, again, what I'll do is I will come here and maybe just decrease the size a little bit. Okay, and select this one as well and decrease the size of this thing over here as well. And if you just want to give this one a simple 90-degree rotation, you guys can also give that, maybe place it right over here, and also give this thing up a rotation. Okay, so now if you want to select this one, go to stickers option, and from here now let's go with 0%. Okay, so now I do have this thing in 0%, and from here as well I do have this particular thing at 0% over here, or like 0 degrees. So I can come here and maybe I can just basically put things quite over here, okay, on the screen, down over here as well. Okay, so I do have two stickers. So if you want to come here, go to this PNG file. If you want to put on some animation, you guys can come here and maybe put on some animation. Okay, so let's just play this one. Okay, so now over here I will just put out this animation. Okay, so let's come here and let's just apply this one over here. Okay, so now let's click here and you guys can see the animation. So now let's come down here at last, and from here now I will go to out, and from here now I will just click on this one. Okay, and I will just apply this thing over here as well. Let's come here on top. Okay, so let's try to just select this line. Okay, so I will just keep this thing right over here, and from here what you can go is animation, and from here you guys can click on fade out. Okay, and now over here let's come to the starting. Okay, and from here you guys can just select the spring. Okay, so now let's see a preview of the whole thing. So let's come here and let's play this. Okay, and now here you guys can see the video, and here now it will just go back. Okay, so here you guys can come here, increase this one a little bit, and you guys can increase from this side as well. Okay, so now let it start. Okay, so over here it will start quite like this, and now if you just want to highlight your text, you guys can actually do that over here as well. Okay, so come here, go to this text option. Okay, and from the text option, now what you'll do is you will come down, and from here you will go to the background option. Okay, so now over here I do have the background option, and now if you want to give this one a white background, okay, so you guys can come here and give this one a white background. Okay, so come here, give this one a white background, go on top, and the color of the text should be black. Okay, so come here, give this one a black color, and what you can do is you guys can come here and just play it around as well. Okay, so now let's just play it around. Let's just give this thing a pause, and from here now what I'll do is I will come here and I'll just check the height. Okay, so I will just decrease the height of the box. Okay, and also I will just decrease the width a bit. Okay, so I will just decrease the width, and from here again what I'll do is I will just select this particular position and I'll just place this thing quite over here. Okay, if you do want to decrease the size, okay, you guys can come here, individually select this and use your mouse to drag it here onto the sides. Okay, so you guys can come here, drag it quite like this, and also you guys will be able to select the roundness. Okay, so the roundness of the boxes, so come here, and from here you guys can actually check the rounded rectangle option. Okay, so if I just put it around 35%, so you guys can see how it will basically look. Okay, so now I don't have sharp edges over here. Okay, so now let's just play this thing up over here, and here you guys can see this is how it actually looks. Okay, so this looks quite amazing. Okay, that's what actually I feel. And don't use transition onto this particular cuts, okay, as I only do have one frame. Okay, because this is actually transiting from a high speed to a low speed over here, if you guys just notice. Okay, so here you guys can see the transition looks quite nice. Okay, so again, what I'm going to do is I am going to basically add on some of the audios. Okay, so come here, let's go to media file, and from here, let's click on import. Let's go to desktop, and from here, let's go to resource. Let's go to audios, and from here, I can basically choose different kind of audios from. Okay, so I can come here and I can just open these things up, and let's just listen these songs. So let's play this one up as well. Let's play this. So let's come here. So if you don't get your desired audios, okay, if you didn't have downloaded, you guys can come here onto the audio part and you guys can just type body and you guys can just search. Okay, so once you search over here, you will have different kind of audios which you can basically use. You guys can download all of this first and hear those things out. Okay, so let's select this one. So let me add this audio right over here. Okay, so I will just add this particular audio, and what I'm going to do is I am going to basically trim this thing down a little bit. Okay, so I'll come here, click on this Shift and Z to fit into the timeline. Let's come here. Now let's not work with the fade in option. Let's come here. Let's just place it. And what you can do is you guys can just trim this thing down back again and click on Shift and Z to just zoom into the timeline again. Okay, so here now I do have the music. So once I want to work with the audio, you guys already know, you guys can select the volume from here. Okay, and let's take uh 0.5 seconds to fade in and 0.5 seconds to fade out. Okay, so over here, as you guys can see, I have just faded in and out. And let's play this thing. So this is how you guys will be able to add some audio into your TikTok videos. And suppose over here somewhere you want to put some TikTok icon, okay, throughout the video. So in that case, what you're going to do is there is a website called the PNG Wing. Okay, so if I search over here, let's try PNG Wing. Okay, and I'll just come here and go to this particular website. Okay, and from here, if I search for TikTok, and if I click on enter, I will be able to get different kind of this TikTok icons. Okay, suppose if I do want to put this TikTok icon, what I can do is I can click on this one, click on download this PNG. Okay, and I do have to click on few of this. Okay, some security questions over here. Okay, and now let's take this 9 and Y, and now my file will basically get downloaded. Okay, over here. So here you guys can see my file, it will get downloaded right over here. So now if I come over here again to my CapCut, what I can do is I can go to the media, click on import, and from here let's go to downloads, take up this PNG and open it up. Okay, so I do have open it up over here. Now you guys can just put this thing right here. Okay, so if I do want to put this, you guys can come here. Now just decrease the size, and maybe you guys can just place it here in one side. Okay, so if you do want to place it here in one side, you guys can basically do that. And if you do want to add some animation, you guys can basically add some animation over here as well. Okay, so come to this point, and what you can do is select this one, go to this animation option. Let's select the in first. Okay, how you want it to appear, or if you want it to shake. Okay, you guys can actually add all of this. Okay, so let's come to this one, and now let's try to take this shape part. Okay, so now I will come here, let's increase the size, and from here I will just go to this out point, and I will just select the fade out. Okay, so from here I will select the fade out option. Let's try and see the preview. So yeah, I hope you guys have understood this class on how you guys will be able to work over here and create some stunning TikTok video. Okay, so if you want to see it in a full frame, okay, you guys can come here into a player media, click onto this icon, and what you can do is you can just see it quite like this. Okay, so here you guys can see. So this is how the video actually looks. So now I will just export this video. Otherwise, I will just change the name directly from here. Okay, so I will just write TikTok video. Okay, so I will just type TikTok video. Let's go to export. And from here, what I'll do is I will come here. And now I am going to go to my desktop, go to my resource file. And from here, let's go to videos and let's select this folder to export. So yeah, I hope to see you all in the next chapter, where we'll be learning how you can actually create a YouTube thumbnail for your video. Okay, so we'll be learning about that as well in the next class. So see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone. Hello everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of CapCut semi-advanced tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 10, and here I'll be making a YouTube thumbnail for a video. Okay, so we'll be learning how you will be able to make a YouTube thumbnail for your video here in this particular chapter in detail. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here, as you guys can see, now I'm again here in the home page of the CapCut. So let's create a new project from here. Okay, and it will give me this particular interface. And now let's try to import some videos. Okay, so let me tell you that here in this class we won't be learning how to make a video. Okay, for me just now I will take this video, and from here I will just take one of their screens which I want to put it in my thumbnail. Okay, I will just show you how to make that cover here. Okay, so now let me come here, let me click on import. So how to make a YouTube thumbnail, we'll be learning about that in the next class, not in this particular chapter. Okay, so let's come here, let's take this video, let's come here, let's click on control, and let's try to select the other videos. This is number 2, and let's come here, let's take this one, and lastly I will come here and let me take this particular video. Okay, so I will just open up all of these 4 videos over here. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to place all of these videos accordingly. Okay, so I'll just place this one quite over here. Okay, so as you guys can see, Now I do have already put all of this video right over here. Okay, so as you guys can see, now I do have this whole video right over here. Okay, so now as you guys can see, I do have all these 4 videos and it's around 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Okay, so now individually I'm going to cut. Let's select this video, and if you want to see how long this video is actually, you guys can come here and maybe just right click, and from here if you want to edit this thing, okay, you guys can actually edit. If you want to play it in reverse, you guys can do that. So now let's come here, let's just decrease the timing to around 4 seconds. Let's come here as well, let's try to put this one as 4 or 5 seconds as well. Let's come here and let's just put this one quite over here. Okay, let's go with 23 seconds. And now after selecting all of this, what you can do is you guys can come here and click on zoom to fit timeline. Okay, so over here basically I will be able to see that how long I want my video to be. Let's select for the first video. I will just increase the size of my first video to 5 seconds. Okay, so let's come here, let's manage this 5 second, and let's select this video, and over here I want this particular video to be at 10 exact second. Okay, so I will come here and I will just put it on 10 seconds. Let's come to this video, and this one as well I'll just try to put it on exact 15 seconds. And the last one over here, I will just try to put this video exactly around 20 seconds mark. Okay, so over here you guys can see I do have this 20-second mark over here. So from here, if you want me to choose this ratio, now I am going to create a YouTube video. Okay, so for that 4:3 size is actually fine. Otherwise, if you want to create a 16:9, that size is also correct. Okay, so you guys can come here and let me just check all these frames, or the frames looking good or not. Okay, so yeah, all this frame looks good. So from here, what I need to do is I need to import one of this frame from here to create my cover. Okay, so for that, to take one frame, I need to do is first come here in this clip, and what you can do is right click over here, and from here click on export free frame. Okay, then go to export option, let's go to desktop, and let's click here on resources. Let me just paste it right over here itself. So I will just come here, I'll just select this folder, and I want to actually import this in here in the project as well. So I will just on this part out. Okay, so if I just on this one out, my this particular image or this PNG file will be exported here in this import project media as well. Okay, so I'll just click on export. Okay, so this still frame is being exported. Okay, so now let's come here, let's take my playhead maybe over here, and now again click on this icon, and now I will again select the part where do I want to save it. Okay, so let's go to this part itself. Okay, let's come here, let's go to resource, and I will just select this folder, click on export. Okay, so I'll just export it from here as well. Let's come to this one. Okay, let's take my playhead over here, and now again this 3-line icon, export still frame, select the folder. Okay, and now go to desktop, select this folder, click on select folder, click on export. And once I'm done, lastly what I'll do is I will come here, take my playhead, and from this playhead what I'm going to do is click on this 3 icon, export still frame. From here let's click on this folder item, and from here let's click on desktop, let's go to resource file, let's select folder, and I will just export this particular frame as well. Okay, so now I do have these 4 frames which I will use in my cover. Okay, so here I do have the video, so I will name my video or the thumbnail as 4 places or 4 places to visit this summer. Okay, so I will just save my thumbnail as that, And in CapCut, they do call the thumbnail as cover. Okay, so now if you want to create a cover for yourself, here just beside your video panel in the timeline, you do have this cover option. Okay, so you guys can click to edit cover, and here you guys can see now you do have this option. Okay, suppose if you already if you don't want to work here, okay, you don't want to animate that, and what you want to do is instead you want to come here and you want to select from video. Okay, so in that case, you guys can use your playhead, and wherever you want to take or wherever thumbnail you want to put, you guys can put it from here. And suppose you do have already created the thumbnail using any other software like maybe Canva or Photoshop, Illustrator, you guys have actually made, and you have saved that file, then you guys can come here into this local option, and from here basically you guys will be able to add it from your PC or your system in which you're working on. Okay, and suppose on top of this one only you want to edit. Okay, you want to take this frame and you want to edit this frame. That also you guys will be able to do by clicking on edit. But for me, what I want to do is I want to create a new cover. Okay, so once I click on new cover, it will basically give me a blank frame quite like this over here. Okay, so now here you guys can see I do have different presets which I can actually choose from. I can also search from here. Okay, if I want to see more recommendations, I can actually search from here. Now I will directly go on to this file. Okay, so I will go on to this design file option. Okay, so from here, if you want to take any color which you want to put over here, you guys can actually put on different colors over here as well. Okay, so now let me come here, let me go to this frame option, and suppose I want to take up this frame. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will come here and now I will just take out this frame. Okay, so now let me just increase the size, okay, of these frames. And if you want to decrease the size individually, okay, you guys will be able to do it from here as well. And once I've taken this particular frame, let me just align it over here in the center. Let's click on Alt, and what you can do is you guys can come here and you guys can basically duplicate this one. Okay, so let's click on Alt, and now let's place it over here. And what I can also do is I can just join this one and maybe click on Alt again, and let's join this part over here again, and let's click on Alt. As I do have 4 videos, I will just join this part over here again. Okay, so let's select all of it. Okay, and suppose now if I do want to move it over here onto this side, okay, so I'll be able to move this one over here. So now let's select this one. If you do want to move it here, you guys can actually move this thing. And now using shift, what I'll do is I will try to first select all of it. Okay, so I'll just select all this thing, and now let's just decrease the size. Okay, so I'll just decrease the size, and what I'm going to do is I am going to click right over here, and I will try to place it somewhere here in the center. Okay, so I'll just try to keep it somewhere here in the center. And if I want to take any background color, okay, I can basically take different kind of background color from here as well. Okay, so you guys can choose what color to take. Okay, so you guys will be able to select different kind of background color from here as well. Okay, so before that, I will just put no colors, otherwise let's put a white background. So now let's see if you do want to add image. Okay, so if you want to select the image from video, you guys can come here and you guys can add it from the video itself. Okay, so let's come here, and suppose I want to take this part, and let's click on save. And here you guys can see now I will do have this particular frame. And let's come to this option, and over here also let's add picture. And if you want to select from computer, I'll also show you guys this option. You guys can come here, go to image. Okay, so if you just double click, or I do have saved it outside, so let's come here, let's go down. Okay, let's try to view it in a large icons. Okay, so I'll try to view it in a large icon, and from here let's just select this one. Okay, and I will just open this thing up. Okay. And again, what I'm going to do is I am going to just double click over here and I can just adjust its positioning, like where do I want to see my image. Okay, so I'll just adjust this over here and I'll just click on this plus icon, okay, or the stick icon. So once I'm done, I will come here onto this part. Let's select add image, select from video. And now what you can do is you can just come here and over here, click on to the save icon. Okay, and that particular image will be saved. Okay, so double click, and again what you can do is you can just place it right over here and you can just click on the tick mark option. Okay, so now once you have applied this one, come to this last one. So let's just try to place it here in the center. Okay, let's click on this plus icon, let's put it up over here, let's click on add image and let's go to select from video. Let's select this one and let's click on save option. Okay, so here I do have saved this particular part, and suppose now what I want to do is I want to give this one this kind of view. Okay, so let me just give this one a view quite like this. Click on this icon and it will be applied over here accordingly. Okay, so this is basically the frames and the images which I do have over here. Okay, and directly also if you want to take some collages, you guys can basically take some collages from here as well to use. Okay, and now from stickers you guys will be able to search for different stickers. Okay, so if I just type YouTube, okay, and if I just click on enter, here you guys can see I do have this YouTube icon which I can basically use. Okay, so let me just place it right over here, and now what I want to do is let's just select this part and let's just decrease the size a little bit and let's try to move it up here in one corner. Okay, so let's just move it up here in one corner. And if you do want to decrease the size a little bit, you guys can come here and decrease the size accordingly. So let's come here and let's just place this one right over here as well. And if you want to select this, you guys can come here and select the opacity. And if you want to give some fill colors, okay, you can just fill different kind of colors from here as well. Okay, so you guys can come here down and you guys can just view all of it. So let me just give this one up a red color. Okay, so you guys can actually save this particular color from here. Otherwise, you guys can also upload different icons. Okay, so instead of putting this one, I will come here and I will just click on the delete icon from my keyboard. And let's give this one a black background. Okay, so if you want to give this one up a black background, this is how it's going to look. Okay, so I will just come here and I'll just click on this cancel icon. And after that, suppose you want to take some shapes. Okay, so over here, now what I'm going to do is I am going to take up a shape. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and place this shape over here on top. Okay, so come here and just increase the length of this particular shape. And from here, now what I can do is I can just write my thing around. Okay, so from here what I can type is 10 best beaches to visit. Okay, so from here now I will just take my text, and from here also if I want to choose from these options, okay, if I want to choose down from my presets, I will be able to choose it from my presets as well. Okay, so now let's take this one, let's go with this holiday icon and let's just place it over here on top. And now what I'll do is I will come here and I will just type 10 beaches to visit. Okay, so I will just come here, let's go a bit back, let's use caps for all. Okay, so I'll just write or 4 beaches, right? I do have only 4 images. 4 beaches to visit this summer. Okay, so I will just type things like that. And now what I can do is I can come here and I can just increase the size quite like this. And if you do want to also decrease the font size, you guys can come here and you guys can actually decrease the font size from here as well. Okay, let's come here, let's decrease the size a bit. Okay, and now let's come to this option, and from here, if you do want me to place it here in the center, you guys can basically place it right over here in the center as well. Okay, so now once you are done with this particular part, what you can do is you guys can come here and you guys can actually put on different stickers. Okay, so now I will come here onto stickers option, and from here I will type beach. Okay, so I will just type beach, and I will get few of the options over here, okay, which you can basically use. So I can come down. Okay, I can just come down over here. Okay, and here you guys can just look all of these things around. Okay, so if you come over here, okay, you guys can just place these things around over here as well. Okay, so now what I can do is I can just take this sticker and I can just place this thing accordingly. Okay, so I'll just come here and I will just try to place this one over here in one side. Okay, so I'll just place this thing here in one side. Okay, so let's come here and let's just decrease the size a little bit. So let's decrease the size from here one corner. Okay, and what I can do is I can just place this one over here. Okay, so now once I have placed this thing, again what I can do is click on this one, click on this sign over here called duplicate. So I have just duplicated this layer, and again what I'll do is I will just place this duplicate layer from here as well. Okay, so I will just place it right over here as well. Okay, so this part is basically done, and now what I need to do is I need to actually select the top part. Okay, so here under stickers, if I type for subscribe, okay, so let me just subscribe and let's click on enter. Okay, here I don't have much option round over here. Okay, so for that I need to come here and let's go to this Chrome. Okay, let's go to my Google option from here. Let's just increase the size. Let's take a new tab. Let's go to Google. Okay, and from here, let's type for PNG Wing. Okay, so this is a great software from where you guys will be able to get different type of PNGs. Okay, so from here, if I do want a YouTube icon, I will click on YouTube and I will click on enter, and over here they will give me different kind of PNG of YouTube. Okay, so here you guys can see I will just take this one and now I will just download this one over into my frame and I'll just upload all those things accordingly. So I'll come here and it's loading. And let's come down. Okay, let's come down. Let's click on download this PNG. Okay, and it should get downloaded accordingly. Okay, so this should get downloaded. And over here, let's come and let's type for subscribe. Okay, so I will just click on subscribe and I'll just click on enter. Okay, so let's see what all option they do give me over here for subscribe. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have this subscribe option with that bell icon. Okay, so what I can do is I can just take this one and I will just download this one over here as well. Okay, so you can also resize if you want. Okay, so I will just click on to this download this PNG. Okay, so here now this file will get downloaded accordingly. Okay, let's come here, and here also they're showing that it will just start downloading. So as over here, I also have downloaded this particular PNG. Okay, so what I'll do is I will just come right over here again, and from here let's come to this uploads option. Okay, so now once I'm over here into the uploads option, so what I can do is I can just come here onto this project panel. Okay, and I can just upload it from here. Okay, so I will just click onto this icon, and from here what I'll do is I will just go to downloads, and with control I will select both of it and I will just open this thing up. Okay, So here, as you guys can see, I will just select this one. Okay, so I will take this one first. And again, what I'll do is I will just click onto this icon and let's select this one and let's open this file over here as well. Okay, so once I have applied, I will come here and maybe bring this one onto this frame. Let's say I will come here and I will just decrease the size proportionally. Okay, so I will just click Ctrl Z. And now let's try to decrease the size properly. And what I'm going to do is I am going to put this thing quite over here. Okay, I am going to put this one quite properly. So I will just check the alignment nicely over here. And now what I can also do is I can just come over here and I can just take this particular icon as well. Okay, so I will just take out this particular icon. And now I am going to decrease the size from here as well. Okay, so let's just decrease the size from here. And what you can do is you guys can just put this thing right over here. Okay, so maybe I'll just place this one again here in the center. Okay, so this is how it looks. Okay, otherwise if you do want to decrease the size, you guys can also come here and decrease the size accordingly. So I can come here and maybe I will just put this thing in one side. Okay, so let's come here and let's try to put this one over here in one side. Okay, so I'll just try to put this thing here in one side. Okay, and this is how I will just try to keep this one. Okay, let's come here and from here as well, let's just decrease the size a little bit. Otherwise, if you want to increase the size, you guys can actually increase the size from this corner and also this corner as well. Okay, and I will come here, click on Shift. Okay, so let's come here, click on Shift, and according to that, you guys can just decrease the size. So now let's just try to put it here in one corner. So yeah, this looks good. Okay, so once I am done over here, again, what I can do is I can just take this particular text box. Okay, so let's come here onto this text option. So let's come here, let's just delete this part. Okay, let's delete this page, and yeah, I will want to close all. So let's come here, and from here, let's try to take a text box. Okay, and now once I have selected this particular text box, from here, what I can do is I can come here, and here you guys can see I do have all of these options. So from here, the next thing what I'll do is I can just select the type of font I want to choose. Okay, so I will just take this particular font, and also I am going to change the font color. Okay, so come here, click on this option. Okay, so let's select this option and let's go with some white color. Okay, so I will just select the white color over here. Okay, let's come here, just click on backspace. Okay, so I will just come here, let's just come to this particular box and let's click on backspace. Let's select this particular part, and from here, now what I'm going to do is I am going to write ABC channel. Okay, so I will just write ABC channel over here, and once I'm done, okay, what I can do is I can just click here outside. Okay, and I will just click on this option, and if I do want to decrease the size, I can actually decrease the size quite like this. Okay, so I'll just decrease the size quite like this. If you want me to select all of this text, I will just select the text, go to this basic text option, select the text color, and from here I will just go with this particular color, and I will just click over here. And now what I can do is let's go to this option, and now let's try to put this one here in alignment. Let's take only this one and let's try to move it up right over here. Okay, so I will just move this thing up right over here, and let's decrease the size quite like this, and let me just place this over here as well. Okay, so I'll just place this thing over here as well. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. Okay, your YouTube thumbnail. So this is the thumbnail which I do have created right now. Okay, and over here, if you want to show rulers, you guys can actually show rulers. while working. If you want to show margins, you guys can do that. And also over here, you will be able to see the print blends. Okay, so this is the one which I have just created right now for my video. And once you're done, what you can do is you guys can come here and click on to save option. Okay, so here this particular thumbnail over here is basically saved. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have this thumbnail right over here. So I hope to see you all in the next class where we'll be learning more about this CapCut. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone. Hello everyone and welcome you all to another chapter of CapCut Semi-Advanced Tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 11 and here we'll be making a YouTube video in CapCut. Okay, so in last class I have showed you guys how you can actually create the thumbnail. So I'll be creating the same video, the thumbnail which I created. Okay, so let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here, as you guys can see, now I am over here in the workspace, and here this was the thumbnail which we created in our last class, as you guys can see right over here. Okay, so we will be making a simple video. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to just cancel this thing out over here, and I am going to actually adjust the size of the videos. Okay, so I can just come over here, maybe go with 5, or let's go with 5 seconds. Okay, so let's come here, let's make it a total of 10 seconds video. So let's come here and let's just bring it down. Okay, so let's go with 10 seconds. Okay, so let's come here, let's just adjust it. Okay, so I will just come here and I'll adjust this one. Let's come to this option and let's just decrease the size, maybe around 15 seconds. Okay, so I will just put the total time as 15 seconds over here. Okay, so let me come here, and lastly I am going to decrease the size of the total footage to something around 20 seconds. Okay, so let's take 20 seconds and 2 frames. Okay, so if you come here, here you guys can see it's 20 seconds and 2 frames. Now again, Shift and Z to fit into the timeline, otherwise you can do it from here as well. Okay, so now let's start with this one over here first. Okay, if you do want to give any kind of effects and stuff, you guys can come here and you guys can basically put on different effects or different kind of filters over here. Okay, so you guys can check all of these filters. Okay, so this is how it will look, and this is the filter over here, and this is how this one looks. Okay, so now let's try to give some colors to it. Okay, so here you guys can see this one looks good. Okay, so what I can do is I can come here and I can just add this one over here. Okay, I have just added the filter. Let's come to this one. Okay, let's try to see what kind of filter can I give. Okay, otherwise let's select this one and let's take this one and put out this particular filter. Okay, if you do want to work with the filter, you guys can come here and click here on the top, and basically you guys will be able to select the strength of the filter from the basic option in the properties panel. Okay, so now let's come to this third one. Okay, and over here also what you can do is you guys can come here and check different kind of filters. Okay, so let's search for this one. Okay, and let's take this. Let's check this one. Okay, let's see this one over here. Let's check. Let's take this one is itself. Okay, so I'll just take this one, drag and drop this particular filter over here. Okay, and lastly come to this frame and let's see what kind of effect can I give over here. Okay, so over here you guys can see there are different type of filters. So I can come here, maybe this one, I can bring this one and drop it right over here. Okay, so this one I will just come again with my playhead, and what I can do is I can just decrease the strength. Okay, maybe I will just decrease the strength by 80%. Okay, so now this part is also done. And suppose if you want to put on some vignette, okay, in that case I will come to my adjustment panel, take one adjustment layer, And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just increase this thing over here. Okay, let's select this panel. Let's increase this one. And what you're going to do is you're going to come here and you are going to actually add some vignette. Okay, so like this, let's come here. Let's see how it actually looks. Okay, over here as well, a bit dark on the sides. Okay, so that one looks good. Okay, so I will just put things quite like that. And again, I will come here and go to my text box option. Okay, so once I'm over here, I will go to my text box option, click on default text. Okay, and now from here, what I can do is I can add different text boxes. Okay, so first one here, I will work with this particular text box. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to place this one accordingly. Okay, like till where I do want to place this, or what text do I want to put. Okay, so I will be able to do that from here. Okay, so now let's start with from the properties panel. Okay, so over here now I will just play my playhead over here on top. Okay, so now I will come here and what I'll do is I will double click. I will go backspace and I'll just type one dot and I will type Parky Beach. Okay, so I will just write Parky Beach. And again, what I'll do is I will just change the font. Okay, so if I do want to use this particular font, what I can do is I can just increase the size and I want to just put this thing here on top. Okay, so I will just place it here on top. Let's go to the color option. And from here, what you can do is you guys can just paste any of these colors. Okay, so you guys can just place it right over here. Again, click and take one default text box, come to this video and again just increase the size. And what you can do is suppose I will just click on copy. I will come here and over here I will click on backspace. I will just give control V over here. Otherwise I can just manually type as well. Okay, so let's come here. Let's go to this option. I will type 2 and I will write Alakoda Beach. Okay, so I will just write Alakoda Beach over here. Okay, so now I will just change the font. Okay, so let's come here. Let's take this one itself. Okay, which I have also chose in my last text box. Okay, so I will just come here and I will also change up the color. Okay, so come here, go with some dark color. Okay, so let's come to this option. Let's put this dark color. And now if you want to give some gap between these letters, you guys can also do that. Okay, so here you guys can see. Now I will come here and what I can also do is click on default text. Come here and now place this thing right over here. Okay, so just place it quite over here. And what you can do is you guys can go backspace. And third, what you can do is I will just write White Haven Beach. Okay, so I will just write White Haven Beach. Okay, so I'll just type this thing out. And if you want me to decrease my font size, I can basically decrease the font size quite like this. Okay, so if you want me to come right over here and place it down, I can actually do that. And let's change the font type. Okay, so this font type looks good. Let's just increase the size accordingly. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to place it right over here and give this one a black color as well. So come down to the color option, give this one a black color. Come to this particular place, default text box. Okay, so I will just add up another text box over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this thing accordingly as well. Okay, so let's keep it right over here. Let's go on top. And over here, let's click on backspace. Let's write 4 and I'll just give up a space. And what I'm going to do is I will just write Beverly Beach. Okay, so I will just type Beverly Beach. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come and take the same font which I took Before, I will just increase the size of this letter, go to color option, and from here, maybe choose this particular color. Okay. So now I want to also add keyframes. Okay. So before adding keyframes, let me just put all of this thing here in the exact position where I want to place it. Let's come here. Let's try to put this thing here in the center. And yeah, this kind of looks good. So the next thing what I'll do is I'll just come over here, and now I will just go to this text box and now take my playhead, and here you guys can see it's just snapping on over into the first point. Okay, so now from here go to the properties panel. From the properties panel, come down and use keyframes. Okay, so I can just use this particular keyframes. Okay, so I will just on keyframe, and what I'll do is I'll just decrease the opacity, come to this particular point, and over here you guys can increase the opacity again. And what I'll do now is I'll just come over here, and from here what I'll be able to do is I will just put another keyframe, and lastly on to this particular place I will just decrease the keyframe to 0 again. Okay, so here I will show you how it will appear. Okay, so this is how it will appear, and let's come at the starting of this one. Okay, let's select this, and instead of this one what I can do is I can just change on the position. Okay, so if I click on this keyframe, and what I can do is I will just come here and I will just take this thing here on top. Okay, so I will just take this thing over here on top, and after just some time what I want is I want to bring this thing exactly down. Okay, so I will just bring it down right over here. Okay, and again what you can do is come to this particular position and now add up a keyframe, and now last I will just come over onto this position, and from here now again I will just uh, make it disappear. Okay, so let's come over here, let's come to this point, and let's come to this last point over here. Okay, so now it will just disappear quite like this. Okay, so if you want to bring it over here, okay, if you do want to increase the size a little bit, you guys can come here and go to this frame, and what you can do is you can just move it on top. Okay, so now over here again I do have this positioning option, so I will just put this thing over here on top. Okay, so let's take this one, and from here let's just move it over here on top again. Okay, so now if you want to see a preview, let's come here, let's just play this thing up, and it will disappear accordingly. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys have understood how you'll be able to make this animation over here as well. Okay, so let's come here, let's just put it quite like this. Okay, so now again I will just come here and I will use the scaling option. Okay, so first it will appear quite like this, and now I will just on the scaling. Okay, so I will just on this particular keyframe, and now I will just take it to 1, and from here after some time what will happen is when we come to this particular place, you will just scale this thing up again. Okay, so you will just scale this thing up quite like this. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come here at this same position, add a keyframe, and what you'll do is maybe just move this one a little bit over here, and also come to this position, and over here I will just scale it to 0 again. Okay, so now let's see how it actually look. Okay, let's take my playhead, let's play it up, and this is how it will come, and this is how it will go back. Okay, so now again I will just come to this position over here, let's select this text box, and what you can apply is you guys can come here and you guys can actually apply some glow. Okay, so if I just select this glow option, and if I do want some other color glow, okay, I can basically take that. Okay, so if you want to take some glow quite like this, let's take this glow, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I am going to put on the intensity of the glow. So I will just add a keyframe right over here, and I'll just keep the intensity at 0. Okay, like, or 10% is the least. Okay, and now after coming to this particular point, what I can do is I can just increase the intensity by 100%. Okay, so now again I will come over here, and after that what I'll do is I will come to this particular position, and from here now I will again put another keyframe. Okay, so let's put another keyframe, and at last, okay, once I come over here, this is how it should appear. Okay, so let's come to this point. Okay, and now I will just decrease the intensity to 0, and over here at the ending I don't have any of this right over here. Let's try to see a preview. Okay, so here this one have a audio. So here you guys can see I do have this animation over here and this animation over here as well, and the intensity will decrease. Okay, so this was about it. And if you want to come over here, select any of this, you guys can come here. And maybe if you want to change the opacity, come here, select this text box, go to the opacity option. Suppose just come here at the starting, add this one. Okay, and now come here at this particular part, and what you can do is you guys can uh, come here, let's say come to this particular point and add up this keyframe. And again what you can do is come to this point, and over here you guys can just like decrease the opacity. Let's come to this particular point, let's decrease the opacity, and now over here. Okay, so I will just come to this particular point, and over here I am going to give another keyframe. Okay, so now what I'll do is come to this particular part, and from here add another one. Let's come to this point, and over here you guys can just change the opacity. Okay, so now let's see the preview. Okay, so if you want to basically see the preview, you guys can come here and check the preview as well. Okay, so now I will just move this thing. Okay, so let's come here, let's just decrease the size, let's place it over here onto the frame. And what you can do is you guys can come here and just move this thing quite over here. Okay, so now if you want to move this thing, you guys can see how it actually works. So now over here, what I'll do is I will just go again back to my default layout. Okay, so I'll just change the workspace, and this is how it will appear, and this is how it will move out. Okay, so this is how it will move out. So this one looks good. Okay, so I'm well satisfied with this particular part. And as we are making YouTube video, if you want to put on some YouTube icons and stuff, in that case you guys can go to import, and from here let's go to desktop option, let's go to my resource file, and from here basically you do have all of these pngs. Okay, so with control I will select both of this and I'll just open this thing up. Okay, so first let's put this one, let's try to put this thing right over here. Let's take this png file, and what I can do is I can just increase the png file throughout. Okay, and I will just decrease the size quite a little bit. Okay, so over here in all of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right over here in one corner, and I can just place this thing up quite like this. Okay, so if you just come here, and let's say I will just check this one out as well, and now this over here, this doesn't look that great. So in that case what I can do is I can come here, select this layer, and I can just give this one a cut. Okay, control B. Okay, so now here you guys can see I do have given a cut, and now I will just come to this particular point, select this box, and again control B. Okay, because now when I come over here, this one also looks good, but when I'm over here now, my YouTube icon is underneath my text box. Okay, so in that case now I want to put this YouTube icon here on top. Okay, so for that I'll come here, and what I can do is I will just change the positioning quite like this. Okay, so I'll just change the positioning of only this particular place. Okay, so now if you just play this thing up, okay, you guys can see in this video the YouTube icon is over here. Okay, and this video the YouTube icon is again in the same place, but here in this video you guys can see the YouTube icon is there on the top. Okay, but here again you do have the YouTube icon here in this particular side as well. Okay, so now I do have applied these things right over here as well. And if you want to add this subscribe option as well, what you can do is you guys can come here and take this particular PNG. Okay, and the same way what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, and now I will just give this one up a cut. Okay, select this one, Control B, and again come to this position and Control B again. So now I do have this thing here in three parts. Okay, so I will just try to manage all of these parts individually. Okay, so I can come here and I can just place this quite like this. Okay, if you do want to decrease the size, you guys can come here and you guys can just decrease the size quite like this. Okay, if you do want to bring it here on top a little bit, you guys can just bring this thing here on top a little bit as well. Okay, so now I will just come here into this part of the video. Okay, so over here again I will just select this one, and now I will just put this thing here in top this particular side. Okay, I'll just put this thing on here on top. So again I will just come to this part and I will just decrease the size, and what I'll do is I will just put this thing here in one corner. Okay, so you guys can just put this thing here in one corner. Let's see how it actually looks. Okay, so this one over here and this one over here. Okay, so yeah, you guys can see this video is basically ready. And if you want to put out any kind of animation and all, you guys can basically put out animation over here as well. Okay, go to animation and select these particular options. Okay, so you guys can select this fade in, and over here you guys can select the fade out. Okay, so now come here and again do the same thing, fade in, and over here you guys select the fade out. Come here, select fade in, and lastly select the fade out option. Okay, so the same way come to this one, but now instead of fade out, what we'll do is we'll come here, and from here we will use the shake option and go to the out page over here, and now you guys can just select zooming out. Okay, so let's select the zoom out option, come here and select the same thing, rotation, and let's go to in option, shake, and out option you already do have over here. So lastly come to this option. Okay, so now you guys can just select this rotation, and again now go to out option, and over here you guys can just click on slide left. Okay, so you guys can click here on the slide left option. So again, now let's see the preview of this whole video. Okay, so now let's just play this thing. Okay, so now over here you guys will be able to see how it actually worked. Okay, so here also you guys can see how it actually works, and let's just come here and let's just place things around. Okay, so if you come here and if I just place this one looks great as well. Okay, so now if you want to come here and if you want to detach this audio, come here, go to this particular option and click on extract audio. So I'll come here and I am going to delete this audio, as I'm going to put some other kind of audios over here as well. Okay, so now for that I will just go to my audio file, and from here I will just write chillin. Okay, and I'll just click on enter. Let's see what all musics do pop up over here. Let's just download this thing up. Okay, and let's listen to all of this and let's check which one is appropriate for this particular YouTube video. Okay, so now let's just play this thing. So let's take this one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it right over here. Okay, So now if you want to add some fade in and stuff, okay, you guys can also do that. Let's click on Shift and Z to fit it here in the timeline. Let's come here to the down part and let's just trim it over here. Okay, so now let's place it quite like this, trim it accordingly. Okay, and again Shift Z to fit it here in the timeline. Okay, so now if you want to fade in and out, here you guys can come and you guys can add 0 0.5 seconds fade in and a 0 0.5 seconds fade out. So now let's just play this thing. So yeah, I hope you guys have understood this class on how you'll be able to make a YouTube video over here. Okay, so now we are done with all of these things as well. Okay, so lastly, what you can do is you guys can come here and export it. Okay, so here you will be exporting both of this first timeline video as well, or this particular cover and also the video. Okay, so I'll just go to export, and over here as you guys can see, I can just change the name. Okay, so I'll come here and I will type YouTube video. Okay, so I will just type YouTube video and I can select the destination where it will be saved. Okay, go to desktop and let's go to my resource file, and from here let's select this video folder, and you guys can just select folder and click on export. Okay, so I'll show you guys after it's being exported. So now over here, this particular file is being exported. Let's just cancel this thing. Let's go to my PC from here and let's go to my desktop, and from here my resource file. So I had selected the video panel. Let's come to this video panel, and over here I do have my YouTube video. Okay, so this is the video and this is the thumbnail of the video. Okay, so if you guys look at this particular thumbnail, okay, so this is the thumbnail for my video and I do have created this particular video. Okay, so let's see this video right over here. So this was the 20 seconds YouTube video which I do have created just now. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys have understood this class on how you'll be able to work on CapCut to create some stunning YouTube videos for yourself. Okay, so I hope to see you all in the next chapter where we'll be learning more about all of these YouTube videos, and also I'll be telling you guys how you can actually make a YouTube short. So see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone. Hello everyone and welcome you all to another chapter of CapCut Semi-Advanced Tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 12 where we'll be making a YouTube short in CapCut. Okay, so we'll be learning how you can actually make a YouTube short over here. So let's not waste time. Let's get started. So over here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the home page of the CapCut. So now from here, I will create up a new project, and now let me import some videos. Okay, so the videos which I want to import is basically over here in my resource file. Let's take these 3 videos which I do have over here. Let's take this one and let's click on Shift to select all of these 3 together. So now I will just open this thing up, and over here what I can do is I can just place all of these footages right over here. Okay, so I'll just choose this one up as well, and I'm going to put this thing over here as well. Okay, so now what I can do is I can just come here, and from here I can just decrease the timing to maybe around 5 seconds. Okay, so if this footage is around 5 seconds, I'll put this around 5 seconds, and let's check this one. Okay, so let's just put it exactly around 10 seconds. Okay, and lastly I will come over here and I will just decrease this to exactly 15 seconds mark. Okay, so I will come here and I will just put this one as a 15 seconds mark. Let's put it right over here. And what you want to do is, as you're creating a short, you want to actually select the ratio. Okay, so I will just take this particular ratio, which is 9 by 16. Okay, so I'll come here and I will just take out this ratio. And what I'll do is I will just increase the size of the footage. Okay, so let's come here. Let's just play this thing up. And what I can do is I can come here and I can just place this frame all around. Okay, so I can basically place this frame around over here. If you want me to increase the size, you guys can basically increase the size from here as well. Okay, so this is how you guys can put on the first one. Let's come to this one again. And what you can do is you guys can actually increase the size. Okay, so come here. Let's just increase the size quite like this. And again, come to this video, select this one and adjust the size from here as well. Okay, so come here. Let's just play this thing up. Okay, so if you want to just zoom out, here you guys can see this is how it will basically look. Okay, so now I do have all of these footages here onto this particular place. And now again, what I'll do is I will just zoom in a little bit. Okay, so I'll just zoom in right over here. And now I am going to come over here into the first one. Okay, so to give this one a cinematic view, what I'm going to do is I am going to come here onto the effects. Okay, so from here I can actually select different kind of effects. Okay, so over here you guys can see these are few of the effects which you can basically use. And here also you guys can see these are few of the effects which you can actually use. Let's take this one and let's put out this effect right over here. Okay, and let's choose up the starting point. Okay, so I just want it to start over here and end this right over here as well. Okay, so like this, let's just play it up and let's just check this one. Okay, so this is how you guys can actually put up your video. Okay, so now what you'll do is come over here into this video, and now over here you guys can actually see that how it will look. Okay, so I will come here and now I am going to put this one right over here as well. Let's just decrease the timing. Okay, so if you want to decrease the timing, you guys can. And if you want to change the atmosphere, you guys can actually change the atmosphere from here as well. So now let's play this thing, and this is how it will actually appear, and this is how it will just go or fade out. So lastly, come to this one, and what you can do is just download all of these things over here as well. Okay, so let's select this one and let's just download this part over here as well. And now let's select this one right over here. Okay, so you guys can see I can just bring this thing up from here and just place it over here again. Okay, so now again I will just decrease the timing of this particular effect. Okay, and what I can do is I can just place this thing right over here. Okay, so I can just place this thing. Let's play this up, and this is how it will appear. Okay, so here this is how the video will look like. Okay, so here you guys can see now I do have this video, and over here what I'm going to do is I am going to come here and let's go with this one. Okay, and over here again what I'll do is I will just go here and take a text box. Okay, so let's come here, and what you can do is just put up your text box over here on top. And what I'm going to do is I am going to come here and decrease the text box size accordingly. Okay, so over here, if I just double click onto this spatial option part, okay, so here you guys can see this one looks quite good. Okay, so come over here again. And now what you can actually do is come to this particular part, and over here you guys can actually change the text. Okay, so now over here what you can do is you guys can come here and you guys can write your text. Okay, so I will just type passion. Okay, so I will just write passion over here, and what I'm going to do is I am going to change the font. Okay, so if I come here, if I just change the font, Okay, so I will just place it right over here. Okay, so let's place it somewhere over here. And now let's just change the color. Okay, so let's come here. Let's go with a different color. Okay, so if you are going with black color, you guys can come here and you guys can basically put it quite like this. Okay, so over here you guys can place it like this. And what you can also do is you guys can just add some animation to it. Okay, so if you want to do that, if you want to work with the keyframes, what you can do is you guys can come here on this one and just decrease this thing. And once you come over here in this particular part, okay, what you'll do is you guys can just increase this thing to quite like this. Okay, so now put this one right over here, keep this thing, place it right over here, and again add another keyframe. And lastly, when you come to this last position, what you can do is you guys can just scale it down. Okay, so you guys can basically scale it down quite over here as well. Okay, so this is how it will disappear. Okay, so you guys can see this is how it will appear and this is how it will disappear over here. Okay, if you want to work with the colors, okay, so you guys can come here and work with the color as well. Okay, suppose you want to come here, otherwise select different kind of text type. Okay, so let's come here, let's place my playhead, and here you guys can select different kind of text boxes. Okay, so here you guys can see, okay, and if you just come down, different kind of presets. Okay, so a lot of presets. If you want to uh, check all this out, you guys can check all of this out over here as well. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can just place these things properly. Okay, so if you come here, let's place this one. This is the red one right over here. And if you want to take any of it, you guys can actually take any of this from here as well. Okay, if you don't want to put none, you guys can come here and select on the none option. Okay, so now just come here on top again and select a dark black color. Okay, and I'll just place it right over here. Again, click on default text. Okay, so come here and what you can do is you guys can just select this one. Check where do you have just adjusted this one. Okay, so come here and from here till here. Okay, so I will just put my text box from here till here. Let's come to the first place, and from here what you can write is dedication. Okay, so I will just write dedication. And what I can do now is I can just come here and I can just increase the size. And also the same way I can actually place it over here accordingly. So now let's place it over here. Let's take this text, and what you can do is you guys can just place it right over here. Okay, so now once you just place this thing quite over here, now I want it to appear in a different way. Okay, so for that, what I can actually do is if you want to put on anything quite like this, okay, if you want to put all of these things, you guys can also do that. I will just cancel, and if you do want to put on some effects over here, you guys can basically put on some effects over here as well. Okay, so you guys can select this one. Let's go to animation. Okay, so from animation, you guys can see there are a lot of options. Okay, so from which you guys can actually choose. Okay, so you guys can come here and check those out. Okay, so let's take this one and let's select this one over here. Okay, so it will just end quite like this. So this is how you guys can actually do your work over here as well. Let's come to this position, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up text box. Okay, so now I will come here, and if you want to come to this position from here till here. Okay, so I will just put my text box over here. Now let's place my playhead, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click, and from here now let's go to basic first, and let's go to this text box, and now I will just write discipline. Okay, so I will just write discipline. And let's change the font type. Let's come here and let's select this fervent. Okay, so come here and just increase the size of this thing from here as well. Okay, so now just place it over here. If you do want to change the color, you guys can come here and change the color over here as well. Otherwise, you guys can just keep this thing here on top, and instead of a black color, you guys can go with some thing like white. Okay, so you guys can select this one. Otherwise, if you want to give some effects, okay, you guys can come here, go to the effects, and from here you guys can actually give all of this options. Okay, so you guys can come here, maybe give this art. Okay, so check this one. Okay, so check all of these things right over here, and from here basically what you can also do is you guys can actually choose from all of it. Okay, so if you come here, you guys can see that you do have all of these options over here as well. So now just select any one. Okay, if you come here, go to basic, let's change the color to black. Okay, so here you guys can just put this one, and what you can do is just come here, select this text, and maybe you guys select this and put this thing here on top a little bit. Now just select this box, and what you can do is you guys can just decrease this one over here, and this particular frame of video I will just put it over here on top a little bit. Okay, so now this one looks good. Okay, so now if you want to add some animation to it, you guys can come here and you guys can go to effects, or you guys can go directly to animation, and you'll be able to animate from here as well. Okay, suppose I will just use over here the keyframes. Okay, so for that, let's go to basic, and from here I will just use this positioning one. Okay, so I will just add up a keyframe, and what I'll do is I am going to bring this thing down over here. And now once I will just move this thing up. Okay, so let's just move this thing up over here. Let's take this particular text box. Okay, and just move this thing over here on top. Okay, so come here, and if you do want to zoom out a little bit, come here and just place this thing right over here in the center. Okay, so now place this thing and place it over here in this particular place. Okay, so now place it right over here, and I have added a keyframe. Let's place it over here again, add another keyframe, and lastly just come here at the last and just place it underneath. Okay, so you guys can come here and maybe place it underneath from here as well. So now over here, if you do want to increase the size, okay, you guys can come here and basically you guys will be able to increase the size. Let's move out these keyframes accordingly. If you want to increase the size of the keyframes or the total video from here as well, I will show you how you can actually do that. Come here, go to this special text option. Let's place it over here onto the same line. Okay, so I'll just place it right over here. Okay, so now let's just play this whole thing out. Let's move my playhead. Let's just zoom in a little bit. Okay, so let's come here and let's zoom this thing out. And let's just play this thing around. So here you guys can see how it actually looks. Okay, and now over here you guys can see now I do have that motion. And here again you guys will also be able to see that I do have this option. Okay, so let's come here, and if you do want to decrease the size, you guys can come here and you guys will be able to decrease the size from here as well. Okay, so come here, let's put it, and after that what you can do is you guys can come here. Okay, so if you do want to delete this one, you guys can come here and click on delete option. Okay, so now I will come here and check this particular frame, and after that what happens is it will just slowly go down. Okay, but I don't want it to, so I will just come here, I will just delete this keyframe from here as well. I will click on delete, and lastly what I can do is I will just change its opacity. So let's come here, let's place it, and now over to this particular place, what I'll do is I will come right over here, and again Now let's go to the blend option. From here, I will just give 100% opacity. Okay, so I will just give 100% opacity over here. And lastly, okay, in this place, what I'll do is I will just decrease the opacity T to 0. Okay, so now I do have this keyframe over here as well. Let's play this thing. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is how it actually looks. Okay, so now here you guys can see the effects and the text animation. And over here, this is how it will appear and this is how it will go out. Okay, so this is the 15 seconds YouTube short, which I do have prepared. Shift Z. Okay, now I'll be able to view all of these things properly. So now once you are done with this particular part, what I'm going to do is I am going to go to my media. Okay, so from my media, what I'll do is I will go to import, and from here I want to actually import this particular short image. Okay, so I will just click on open, and this one I do have applied. Okay, so what I can do now is I can just place this one maybe from here till last. I will just place this thing up, and what I can do is suppose I want to keep this thing. Okay, so for that I will come here, come to this particular point, click on Control B for a split. Okay, so I will just split it right over here, come to this position and click on Control B for another split. Let's try to arrange it individually. Okay, so I'll come here, and over here what I'll do is I'll just keep the short uh, option right over here in one side. Okay, so I'll come here and I'll just place it here in one side, and the same way. So now over here, actually I have did the sizing over here. Okay, and now I will come to this next one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing, decrease the size, and I'm going to put this thing here in this particular corner. Okay, and after that, come to this, and what you can do is just take this one and maybe just put it right over here in one side. Okay, if you do want to decrease the size, you guys can come here and decrease the size accordingly. Okay, so now what I can do is if I do want to put on some animation, I can come here and I can just put on some animation over here as well. Okay, so keyframes over here, keyframes over here. Let's put on some animation onto all of this. Let's come to the first one and let's check the in and out. Okay, go to animation, and for in I will just fade in, and for out I will just select this rotation one. Okay, so just come to this part again, go to in option, select shake, and lastly come over here, go to out and select zoom in. Okay, so you guys can just select zoom in, come to this option, let's select rotation, and now let's come here into the in point, let's select zoom. Okay, so over here let's just play this thing up now. Okay, so let's play this thing over here. Okay, and now it will just change it to another video, as you guys can see, and it will disappear as well. Okay, and it will come quite like this, and lastly it will disappear quite like this over here as well. Okay, so now I do have the video, and if you want to put any kind of adjustment layer on top, I will go to adjustment, click on custom adjustment, and from here I will just increase the size. Okay, and now if you want me to give up any cut, okay, I can come here and I can come to this point and click on Control B. Okay, and come to this point over here with your playhead and give another Control B or a split over here. Come to the first one, and from here what you guys can actually do is you guys can come here and put up an adjustment layer. Okay, so for that I will just only add some vignette over here to give it a cinematic look. Okay, so I can come here, and now what I can do is from this point I will just select a keyframe, and now what you can do is you guys can just fade this thing out. Okay, so you guys can just put it around 30. Okay, and once this one is basically done, okay, so here now I will just come here and just let's say I will try to put this thing right over here. And at this point, what I'll do is I will just go for 0. Okay, so I will have 0 over here. And till this much, let's give it a 30. Okay, so let's come here and let's select 30. Okay, so I will just come here and I'll just give 30. Okay, so here I do have adjusted. So now let's say it will come over here and it will go dark quite like this. And then it will come here and change it to this part. And now what I can do is come to this adjustment layer. And what you can do is before it will be quite like this. Okay, so now I will just add this one. And over here now once I come to this position, what I can do is I can just bring it to 0 back again. Okay, so let's come here and let's just play it up and it will appear quite like this. Okay, so come here and what you can do is add this particular point. Okay, it will just stop at this particular point, and now it will come here and it will just end over here. Okay, so from here again what you can do is just select this particular part. Okay, so this particular part, what you can do is you can just add some vignette over here. Okay, so I will just click from here, and now what you can do is you guys can come here to this point and maybe you guys can actually change it. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can just change it to 30. Okay, so now I will come here and let's just play this thing up again. So over here now you guys will be able to see the change. Okay, so here you guys can see, and now also you will be able to see the changes, and over here you guys will be able to see it will slowly turn into black. Okay, so this was about it. Okay, I hope you guys have understood this simple thing right over here. Okay, so once you're done, if you want to add some transitions, okay, you guys can add some small transitions over here. Okay, you guys can use this mix one. Okay, otherwise if you guys click onto this, let's place it right over here in the center. I'll click on OK, and from here I will choose the duration, and now I will just place this one over here as well. Okay, so now once I am done, let's just play this thing up. Okay, and here now again you guys can see it will just come quite like this, and again it will just disappear, or let's just delete this transition because that one doesn't look that great. Let's select this fade one. Okay, come here and just select this fade option. Okay, so let's play it, and here this transition looks better. Okay, so now as I do have this transition over here as well, lastly what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an audio. Okay, and from here I will just write sport or athlete. Let's write athlete. Okay, and I'll just click on enter. Okay, so here you guys can see I do have a lot of musics which I need to download. So let me download all this first and let's hear uh, which is the one we are going to use. Okay, so now let's just play this thing. So let's take this audio, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it right over here. Okay, so let's just trim this one a little bit. Click on zoom to fit timeline. I will come here and I'll just try to zoom to fit here in the timeline. Let's bring it quite over here, and again let's just place it here in the same spot. Let's add a 0.5 seconds fade in. Okay, and over here let's add 1 seconds. Okay, instead of 0.1, let's come here and let's put it 1 seconds over here as well. So now let's click on shift and Z to fit it over here in the timeline. Now let's see the total preview. So yeah, I hope you guys have understood this class on how you will be able to use CapCut to make a YouTube short. So lastly, what you need to do is you need to come here and export. Let's just save this one's title as YouTube short. Okay, so I'll just name this one as YouTube short. And from here, let's go to export to, and let's go to desktop. Let's go to content, or let's go back again. Okay, let's come here. Let's go to my resource file. Let's select this videos folder, and I will just export this thing out. So yeah, I hope you guys have understood this class on how you'll be able to make a stunning YouTube short in CapCut. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of CapCut Semi-Advanced Tutorial. Okay, so here in this class, we'll be learning how you can make a Facebook video in CapCut. Okay, so we'll be learning in detail how you can use some free screen, okay, and also how you'll be able to reverse a clip, and also how you can give this thing cinematic view. So we'll be learning about all of that here in this particular chapter. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the home page of the CapCut. So from here, let's open up a new project. And from here, let's go to import. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to come down over here and I'm going to take out my videos. Okay, so I will be taking all of these 3 videos. So I may not use all of it, but I'll just open this thing up. And let's say I will take this video. Okay, so now let's just put this thing over here into my timeline. And what I can do is the first thing I will just change up the ratio. Okay, so if I do want a ratio of this, okay, or if I do want a ratio which is 3/4, okay, I can actually do all of this from here as well. Okay, so now you guys can come here and you guys can actually join up this frame. Okay, so now as you guys can see, let's just play this thing up. And now from here, what I can basically do is let it jump, and with him the frame should also basically move. Okay, like if you want to place it right over here, and what you can do is you can just move out the frame. Okay, so first over here, let's click on to position, and now let's come over here, and from here what you can do is let's come till here, and now I will just change up the position from here as well. Okay, so if you want to change up the y-axis from here, let's come to this corner and let's end it quite here. Okay, so I do have added that particular frame. Let's play this thing up, and here you guys can see this is how he will be landing. Okay, so this is the total frame right over here. Okay, and at this point I will come here, and what I'm going to do is, as I have already added keyframes, okay, I can add some other things. Okay, so now once you come here and to this particular part, what I'm going to do is I am going to give it a split. Okay, so using Control B, I will give this one a split, and now I will just select this particular part. Okay, so this particular part over here, and again I will just use Control B to give it a cut. Okay, so as I do have this particular part right over here, okay, so let's say I will just give this particular part a cut quite like this, and this is how it will basically end at last. Okay, so now from here, what you can actually do is you can just click on copy from here, and now I will just come here on top and I'll just paste this thing right over here. And what you can do is you can just place the same thing right over here. Let's see how it actually looks. Okay, and here you guys can see this is how it actually looks. And again from here, what you can do is right click and you can just reverse this video. Otherwise there is also this reverse action, you can just reverse this one. Otherwise, the most simple way, go to edit, right click and click on reverse. Okay, so here you guys can see they're just reversing the clip of mine. Okay, so if I just play here, you guys can see, and it will just drop like this. Okay, so now I do have this particular part. If you do want to decrease the part from here, suppose let's come to this position, let's play this, and over here if you want to add, okay, and if you want to slow this down, what you can do is select this one, and from here basically you guys can go to speed, okay, and just increase or decrease the speed. Okay, so if you do want to decrease the speed, you guys can come here and maybe decrease the speed by 70%, let's say. If I come here, and here you guys can see it will just slow down, and from here again what you can do is you guys can just come to this part. Okay, let's just increase the spacing. Okay, so let's come here, let's just increase the spacing quite like this, let's play it, and over here you guys will again come like this. So what I can do is I can just come here, click on copy, and over here I will again paste this thing up, and let's just keep this same frame right over here. Let's now play it up, and it will come back again, and it will go back right over here again. Okay, so you guys can add this cinematic view right over here. Here you guys can see the slow motion, and it will just fall over here again to this particular side. Okay, let's come here, and what you can do is you guys can just come to this position, and from this position maybe you guys should trim this thing down. Okay, so come here, and now you guys have just put this one right over here and just drop it quite accordingly. Okay, so now let's come to this position, let's see the difference between frames. Okay, so now over here, okay, and what I can do is I can just decrease the frame, okay, quite like this. Okay, so let's come here and let's see, let's play this thing up, and it will just land over here. Okay, so it will just land over here. Okay, so let's say it will land kind of like this. Okay, so if you want to go beyond, okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can just come here beyond this. Okay, so if you want to add this particular part, you guys can add this one, and let's say the whole video. Okay, so now you guys will jump, come back, jump again, and land quite like this. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood this part, how you are able to do this thing right over here again. So suppose now what you want to do over here is you want to come to this first frame, and suppose you want to give some animation, okay, over here. So for that you guys go to adjustment layers, check this custom adjustment layer, place it over here, and if you do want to put out some colors, okay, you guys can actually put on some colors from here as well. Okay, so if you want to use the fade option, otherwise let's select the vignette. So now over here I will just add one keyframe, and lastly I will just come over here. Okay, let's come to this part, and what you can do is you can just add a vignette of 35. Okay, so you can just add these keyframes right over here. So let's take this one, and this thing is basically applied over here. Let's say I will just place it quite like this slow motion, and again it will just land quite over here. Okay, so if you come to this particular position, and if you want to bring this thing down a little bit, you guys can basically bring this thing down a little bit from here as well. Okay, so this is how it will basically look. So now after this one, what I can also do is, suppose if you want to add some different cinematographic effect. Okay, so I'll just come here to the mask, and from the mask option what I'm going to do is I am going to come here at the starting, and I will take this horizontal mask or this rectangle mask. Okay, so I can come here. Let's take the horizontal one. Okay, and from here what you can do is you can just add this one over here. Okay, and if you do also want to add on top, you guys can basically add on top over here as well. Okay, so let's take this mirror one, and what you can do is you guys can come here at the starting. Okay, so starting it will kind of show you like this, and after that slowly what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to place it quite over here. Okay, so now take this mirror one and put up a keyframe. Okay, so I'll just put up a keyframe over here, and after you come to this particular position, what you can do is you guys can actually change it. Okay, so if you want to change it, you guys can come here and you guys can actually change it from here. Okay, so let's just go with 0. Let's click on enter. Let's come here and let's just place it up. Okay, so I will just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I will just come here and I will just place it quite like this as well. Okay, so I will just place it right over here. Okay, so I will just bring it quite like this. Otherwise, let's just place it over here in the center, and now just decrease it quite over here. Okay, so if you do want to zoom in again, come here and select this part, and you guys can zoom in again over here. Okay, so now till here it's fine. Okay, so let's come to this position, and over here what you can actually do is you guys can come here and select this mirror option. Okay, so if you come here and you guys can just select this mirror option from here again, let's select this one. And if you do want to zoom out, you guys can come here and zoom out basically. Okay, so come here, go to this mirror option. And from here, what you are going to do is you are going to come to this particular position from here. Okay, and now if you want to add a keyframe, okay, you guys will also be able to add a keyframe over here. Okay, or let it just keep it quite like this, and over here also I will just try to add the same. Okay, go to mirror, and from here now I will just place it quite like this and quite like this over here as well. So now let's just zoom out, and now let's try to fix it. Okay, so if you do want to fix this thing, let's come here, let's place it over here in the center, and now just increase the size. Okay, so just increase the size from here, and what you can do is just place it and put another keyframe over here as well. Okay, so now come to this position, let's take this video, and over here the same way you guys can actually select this one. Now come here, select this one over here as well, come to this last video, and over here what you can do is you guys can actually select this mirror and just place it over here accordingly. Okay, so I'll come here, place this thing right over here, and now I will just use the keyframe. Okay, so I'll just use this keyframe over here, and lastly when I just go out, I want to end it from here as well. Okay, suppose I will come here, and what I can do is I want to just take out this one. So now let's just see a preview. Okay, let's play this thing, and this is how it will appear, and this is how it will just disappear quite like this. Okay, so now this is how you guys will be able to work with this particular Facebook video. Okay, so come here, just change this line. Okay, so if you want to see it in a full screen, you guys will be able to see it in a full screen from here as well. Okay, so this is how it will appear, and here it will basically end. Okay, so this is how you guys will be able to work over here. Let's come to this adjustment panel. If you want to adjust anything else, you guys will also be able to do that. Okay, so I have showed you guys two different ways of how you can actually use this cinematic option over here. Okay, so now let's come to the other parts of the video. Okay, suppose what you can do now is you can just add some audio to it. Okay, so if you want to add some audio, okay, you guys can add some audio to this particular uh, part as well. Otherwise, let's come here. Let's first take a text box. And what you can do is you can just put up the text box quite over here. Okay, so now I want to just put this right over here. Let's just come here and let's place it. And what I can do is I can just take this text box here on top. And now I can just type uh, be the one. Okay, so I'll just come here, backspace, enter, and I'll just write be the. Otherwise, go back. I will just write be the. Let's click enter. I will just write 1. So from here, again, what you can do is if you want to align it onto the left, you guys will be able to align it onto the left side as well. Okay, so I do have aligned this one. Now let's select this. And what you can do is you guys can just increase the size. And from here, let's select the font type. Okay, so let's come here. Let's select the font and let's go with energy. Okay, so this one you guys can actually use if you do want to increase the size. You guys can increase the size from here as well. So maybe select this particular part and change the color of the text as well. Okay, so maybe I will just come here and select the black color. And now what you'll do is you will come to this particular option. If you want to go to effects, you guys can come here and you guys can see there are multiple effects which you can actually use. Okay, so you come here and from here what you can do is just come to this basic option and from here select the color. Okay, so if you want to go with black color, you guys can go with black color over here. And now if you want to scale the position, okay, you guys can come here and do that. And if you want to if you want to expand the effects option, you guys can come here and here you guys can see you do have a lot of these options over to this particular place. Okay, so now if you select this one, otherwise this art one, okay, so that is also looking good. Okay, if you want to decrease the size, you guys can actually decrease the size a little bit from here as well. Okay, so now I'll just place it right over here. And now at the starting, okay, what I want to do is I want to add some keyframe. Okay, so now I will just go with the basic one. Let's come down. Let's go to blend option. From here, let's add a keyframe. Let's select the opacity to 0. And afterwards, once he lands over here, what I want is I want my opacity to be 100. Okay. And now from this part, let's say till here, I will keep the opacity as 100 again. But from here, I want it to disappear to 0. Okay, so I will just take it to 0 and I have just applied this particular thing over here as well. Okay, so now let's just play this thing up. Okay, and here you guys can see the reverse animation. Okay, you guys can put things quite like this. Okay, otherwise there is other ways of how you will be able to work on over here is let's just place it. Let's place both of this right over here. And suppose now at this particular point I want to add a freeze frame. Okay, so now I want to add a freezing frame. So let's come to this point, and from here what you can do is you can just add a freezing frame. Okay, so instead of this one, let's come here and let's just add up a freezing frame. Okay, so now over here, as you guys can see, you guys can come here and you guys can just add a free frame. Okay, so come here and what you can do is you guys can just right click and go to edit and click on freeze frame. Okay, so here you guys can see that you do have decreased the freeze frame size. So from here again, what you'll do is come here, select this one, and now let's check out the freeze frame. Okay, so now I do have added this layer, and over here this is how it will look. Okay, so here you guys can see the movement and the freeze. Okay, so come here if you do want to increase the freeze. Okay, so just increase the freeze quite a bit. And what you can do is come here, and now you guys can just delete this part. Okay, so now come here, let's just play this thing. And now I will just decrease the freeze frame quite like this. Otherwise, let's decrease the freeze frame a little bit more as well. Let's play this thing up. Let's just freeze it and let's play it over here. Okay. So now again, I will come here and I will just come to this particular keyframe and I'll just place this thing accordingly. Let's come and see the preview of this video. And now here also you guys can see this is how you guys can actually work. Okay. And here also what you can do is you can come here, go to the jump, and at this point what you can do is suppose I'll come here, and from here I will just add another text box. Okay, so I'll come here, and once you are done over here, okay, you guys can come to this position, and what you can do is you guys can place this text box. Okay, so I will just write dare to. Okay, dare 2. And what I'm going to do is I am going to just go on top a little bit, and from here I am going to select the type of font what I'm going to use. Okay, so I will come here, let's take this fervent, and now I will increase the size, and maybe I will just give this one up a different color. Okay, so come here, and from here now I will just give this thing up a black color, and I'll just place it quite over here. So now if you do want me to add some animation, so again, select this text box, go to this basic option, and from here, go down to the blend, add a keyframe, go and make it 0, and again, move it few frames forward. Okay, and over here you guys can actually select this particular part where I want it to visible totally, so I will place it right over here, come to this position, again add another keyframe, and lastly add 0 to it as well. Okay, so come here, and if you want to add 0, you guys can add that one as well. Okay, otherwise if I just come here, okay, maybe I will just come to this particular part. Okay, so now if I just come here, let's just place it over here, and now I will just place this thing over here as well. Let's play this thing, and here you guys can see this is how it will appear. Let's play it, and this is how it will appear, and it will go back and it will appear quite like this. Okay, so the same way, if you want to just increase it, you guys can come here and increase this thing accordingly. So come here, play with these keyframes. Okay, so now let's just play here. So now this one quite looks like this, and this is the one. Okay, so now this part is also basically done. Okay, so now the next thing what you can actually do is if you want to put up any stickers and stuff. Okay, so now I will come here into the sticker option, and from here what I can do is I can just select any sticker, and maybe I will just put it right over here as well. Okay, so maybe I'll just increase the size, and maybe I will just place it right over here. Okay, so maybe I can just place it quite like this, and now if you want it to appear it like a spring, you guys can come here and make it appear quite like this. Okay, so you guys can come here and let's just play this thing up. Okay, so let's just play it. Okay, and now here this is how it should look. So I'll just pause it right over here. Again, I have just placed this one up. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys have understood how to do that. Lastly, go to audio and just type for motivation. Okay, or I will just write cinematic. So come here, write cinematic, and click on enter. Okay, so let's see what all audios do I will get here. Let's just download this thing up, this one and this one as well. Let's play the first one. So let's take this first one itself. Okay, so I'll come here and I'll just place this thing quite over here. And if you do want to trim this audio, you guys can trim it. And now let's zoom to fit it here in the timeline. Let's come here. Let's bring it quite like this. Let's just place it here on top. Bring here, click on Shift and Z. Okay, so this is actually ready. Let's play. So yeah, I hope you guys have understood this class. Lastly, let's export this file. Okay, or instead of exporting or changing the name from here, what I can do is I can come here, just click here on top, click on backspace and type Facebook video. Okay, so you guys can just type Facebook video. Okay, and just save it up. Okay, so if you just click outside, it will automatically save. Go over here, select where you do want to export. Come to this particular point, go to desktop, go to uh, the resource file, not the content. Come here, select this videos panel, select folder. So yeah, I hope you guys have understood this class. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone. Hello guys, so this is the time for our class project where I'll be showing you guys how you can make a YouTube thumbnail in CapCut. Okay, so first I'll be showing you guys the steps of what are the steps you need to follow over here. And next in CapCut itself, I'll be showing you how you will be able to create up a thumbnail. Okay, so let's not waste time and let's get started. So here, as you guys can see, now I do have the name of the class project as making a YouTube thumbnail in CapCut. So here I also do have a description which says you can create a visually appealing and engaging YouTube thumbnail using CapCut. Experiment with different editing options and designs to make your thumbnail stand out and attract viewers to your video. So now let's go move on to the steps. Step 1, go to your cover panel from the workspace. Step 2, select the new edit option. Step 3, put frames and images in it. Step 4, use text and graphics accordingly. Step 5, place the YouTube logo and the subscribe logo. Step 6, save the file and upload the thumbnail in our project panel. So the outcome you will get a nice cover image in CapCut, which can be different in many sizes. So hope you try different shapes and upload a few images and graphics in it. Okay, so now let's move on to CapCut to see how you will do that. So over here, as you guys can see, now I am here in the workspace, and here this is the video in which we worked before. Okay, so from here now I am going to create a thumbnail for this one. Okay, so here I am in the workspace, and from here I will click to edit cover. Okay, so from here basically I will be able to take up any font. Let's come here and let's click on edit. Okay, so I can come here and I can basically edit this one from here. Otherwise, I will just click on cancel. What I can do is I will just come to this particular frame, click on export still frame, and now I will just export it here in my resource file. Okay, come here and select this folder and click on export. Okay, so now I do have exported this one. Let's come to this option. Okay, if you want to select a photo, go to local, and from here what you can do is you guys can actually drag image to this area. Okay, so I will just come here, go to desktop, go to resource file, and from here let's take this image and let's place it up. Okay, so let's just place it right over here. Let's click on to the edit option, and here you guys can see I do have different kind of editing options right over here. Okay, so here you do have different kind of texts as well. Okay, different kind of templates. Okay, so here you guys can actually put on text and stuff over here. Otherwise, you guys can just click on to this option, and if you want to upload any image, you guys can upload. If you don't want to upload, you guys can't upload as well. Okay, so if you want to select any frame from the video, you guys can select from here. Otherwise, I have showed you guys about the local option from here as well. Okay, click on edit, and over here you guys can see I do have different kind of templates. Okay, so from here now I will go to text, and from here let's take a text box. Okay, suppose from here what I'll do is I will just type dream. Okay, so let's select dream over here, and what I'll do is I will just change the font type. Okay, so let's come here and now let's increase the size. Okay, so I will come here and I'll just put it right over here. And again, what you're going to do is you are going to add another text box, and over here what you can do is you can just write something down. Overcoming your fear. I will just write overcoming your fear. Okay, so I'll just type this thing down. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease the size. And once I'll just put right over here, I can work on with the alignment. Okay, so if I do want to align it to the left, I can basically align it to the left as well. Okay, so I can just select the kind of shadow I want, the color. Okay, so I can just select from here. Let's take this one, and what you can do is you guys can just place it somewhere over here. Okay, so if you want to align it to the right, you guys can basically align it to the right as well. Okay, so if you just come here, let's just place this thing here on top. Let's bring it right over here in one side. Select this particular box, and what you can do is if you want to crop this one, you guys can actually crop this image as well. Okay, so now let's come to this option, and from here let's go to edit, and again I will just try to do it from the starting. Let's come here and I will just type dream. Okay, so let's try dream, and from here let's change the text type. Okay, so I will come here, I will just place it right over here, and again I will add another text box. Okay, so come here, add another text box. Otherwise let's just decrease it. Let's come here, let's increase the size. From here let's change it. Okay, so now I will come here, increase the size, and let me just place it right over here. Okay, and what you can do is if you want to add another text box, okay, you guys can come here and add another text box. Okay, so now type overcome, or you can just type overcome your, okay, otherwise in one line. Okay, overcome your fear. Okay, so I'll just type this thing down, and if you want to decrease the size, you guys can come here in one part and decrease the size accordingly. Okay, so come here, select this one, and what you can do is you guys can come to this particular point. If you do want to increase the size, you guys can do that, and now come to this point and just give this one up a black color. Okay, and this is how it actually looks. And if you want to give on some effects, you guys can actually use different kind of effects over here as well. Okay, so now if you just select all of this thing together, okay, and if you want to crop this thing down, you guys can do that. Otherwise, here these are few options that how you guys will be able to select this particular template. Okay, so now I have actually done this one, and here you guys can see a lot of options, and this is only the option where you will be able to work with text. You guys can click on complete from here, and here you guys can basically see that you do have this particular cover, okay, using which you will be able to work. So I will come here, I will just cancel this thing out as well. Okay, so here you guys can see this is the cover which I basically use. Okay, so if you want to come over here again, and if you want to try out other templates, okay, you guys will be able to try out other templates from here as well. Okay, so now here you guys can see different options. You guys can come here and just delete this one from here. Okay, so the last thing how you will be able to save this thing up is go to export, and from here just give the name as class project 1. Okay, so I'll come here and I'll just name this as class project 1. Okay, and I will just save the file. Let's go to my videos folder. Let's select this folder and let's export it. So the exporting is basically done. So I hope you guys have understood this class on how you will be able to make a YouTube thumbnail over here. So see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone. Hello everyone. So now this is the time for our class project, and this is the class project 2 where we'll be making an Instagram reel. Okay. So now first I'll be showing you guys the steps. What are the steps you need to follow over here? And then we'll be learning how you will be able to do that in CapCut. Okay, so I'll be showing you guys all the steps and how to follow that, each and everything in detail. So let's first look at the steps, what all we need to follow over here. So here, as you guys can see, I do have the name of the class project as making an Instagram reel. So here I do have a description which says use CapCut to edit and create videos that you can then upload to Instagram as reel. Be sure to follow Instagram's guidelines and best practices for creating reels to maximize engagement and reach on the platform. Step 1, open a new project. Step 2, import few video clips. Step 3, give the player media a 9 by 16 ratio. Okay, this one is quite important. Step 4, put some text and graphics together on the video. Step 5, give some slow-mo animation for cinematic view. Step 6, export the file and upload it in our project panel. So the outcome will be creating an Instagram reel using CapCut involves several steps, and the outcome depends on your creativity, editing skills, and the content you include. Overall, the outcome of making an Instagram reel in CapCut is a visually stunning and engaging video that captures the attention of your audience and helps you stand out on the platform. With CapCut's powerful editing features and creative tools, you can create reels that showcase your personality, creativity, and unique style, driving engagement and interaction with your content. So now let's go to CapCut and let's see how you will start your Instagram reel. So over here, now I am here in the new project on the home page. Let's click on new project. So this was the step number 1, and step number 2 is importing some media. Okay, let's go to desktop. Let's go to resource file, and from here, basically, I'll be able to take different kind of videos from here. Okay, so let's take this one and let's just open this up. Okay, so I do have this video, and let's come here, let's put it over here onto my timeline. And what I can do is now I can come over here and go to the ratio and go for a 9 by 16 ratio. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can basically increase the size accordingly. And if you do want to zoom out a little bit, you guys can come here and zoom out a little bit as well. Okay, so now I will come here and I will just give cuts in different places. Okay, so I will come here, and from here now what I'll do is I will just give a cut. Okay, so control B. Okay, so I will just put control B over here, and now what I'll do is I'll come to this position, and from this position what I'll do is I will come here and I will also make this one first. Let's make this total thing as a transition from this place. Okay, so I will just keep this middle part. Okay, so let's bring my playhead. Let's just move this thing around. Okay, so come here onto this position. What you can do is you guys can click on Control B. Let's come few frames forward. Okay, once you're over here, click on Control B, select this middle part and click on delete from your keyboard. Okay, so over here, if you want to apply some slow-mo and stuff, go to speed, and from here you guys can actually decrease the speed. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can just decrease the speed. Let's play this thing, and this is how it appears. Here you guys can see now this is again at the same speed. And over here now you guys can see this is how it looks. And now if you just want to fast this one, okay, you guys can come here and you guys can just increase it, the timing from here. Let's play this one up. Okay, and over here you guys can see this is how it looks. Okay, and again, when it comes over here, you guys can see this is how it will look. So if you do want to add any transition, come here, go to transition, and from here, try to put it right here. Okay, so let's just play this, and over here, you guys can see the transition quite well. Okay, so now again, what I'll do is I'll just come to this first part, and from this part, what I'll do is I will just come to this position, and from here if you want to add any kind of text, go to text option, go to default text, and what you can do is I can come here and till here what I can do is I can just put on the text box. So now again, I will just zoom to fit in the timeline. Okay, so from here, I will just zoom to fit over here in the timeline. Let's place it right over here. And what you can do is you can just bring this text up. Okay, and come here and change the text. Okay, so write workout. Okay, so I'll just write workout, and now you guys can actually change the font. Okay, so now change the font over here, and what you can do is you guys can actually increase the size quite over here. And again, at the starting, what you can do is you guys can just fade this thing out. So for that, I will come down, go to the blend option, add a keyframe, and now just decrease it to 0. Come to this point, and what you can do is you can just change the opacity, and over here again at this particular part, what will happen is you add another keyframe, and again to this particular point you just increase the opacity or decrease the opacity again. Okay, so this part is basically done. This is how it will work, and yeah, as you guys can see, it will work out over here. And over here again, what I'll do is I will just add another. If you want to increase the size of the text box, you guys can come here. Let's double click on backspace, and now here you guys can type patience. Okay, so I will just type patience, and from here let's go on top a little bit. Let's try to take some other font. Okay, so let's take this font over here. Let's increase the size, and let's keep this thing quite over here as well. So the same way from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up keyframes. Let's select this box, and from here, let's come down and let's add a keyframe. Let's go 0. Let's come few frames forward, and over here I will just change the opacity to 100%. Come to this position, and now just give another keyframe, and lastly you come here and just keep the opacity to 0. Okay, so now you guys can just place things around quite over here, and if you want to play this thing, you guys can come here and you guys can see this is how you guys can actually add some of these things over here. Okay, and the same way, if you want to add some of the stickers, or you guys can also call graphics, you guys can come here and you guys can just uh, check out from here. Okay, so let's go with workout and let's click on enter. And here you guys can see there are different kind of stickers. Okay, so if you do want to use from any of it, okay, you guys don't basically have to use it from here. But what you can do is you guys can come here, take this one, and now if you just come here and if you just put this thing here on top, you guys can actually place it here on top as well. Okay, so come here, place it over here, and now if you do want to increase the size, you guys can come here and you guys can basically increase the size. Okay, so you guys can just scale it up. Okay, so if you do want to scale it up, you guys can come here and you guys can basically scale it up from here as well. Okay, so now if you do want to increase the size a bit more, you guys can increase the size a bit more as well. Right click. Okay, so if you do want to copy, you guys can come here, click on copy, and over here you guys can basically paste. Okay, so come here, and the same way what you can also do is you guys can just place it right over here and just place it till this point. And now, again, what you can do is you guys can just come here and put this icon quite over here as well. Okay, so if you do want to put this thing here in the center, okay, you guys can come here and maybe put this one here in the center. Okay, so also this one is here in the center. And if I want to come here and if I do want to place it exactly somewhere over here, I can actually place this one over here. Otherwise, if you do want me to place it here on top somewhere, you guys can actually place it over here on top. Let's come to the first frame. And over here, what you can also do is let's select this one. Let's go with animation. Okay, so here you guys can just bounce in. And for out, let's select the bounce out option. Okay, so the same way, come here. Okay, and you guys can come to this point. Let's select bounce out and over bounce in. Okay, so this is how you guys can make it appear as well. The last thing left is adding an audio. Okay, so I'll just search for workout and I'll just click on enter. Okay, and here you guys can see I do have different audios. Let's just play this thing up. Okay, so now let's hear the first one. So now I will just put this particular audio over here. Let's place it quite like this. And from starting, I will just trim this a little bit. Let's click on Shift and Z to fit it here in the timeline. Let's come here and let's just trim this thing down as well. Okay, so I'll just trim this thing down, place it right over here. And now again, what you can do is if you do want to trim it, you guys can come here and trim it over here as well. So now again, Shift Z to zoom to fit in the timeline. And once this is done, you guys can actually add the fade in and fade out timing. Okay, so come here, select the fade in and the fade out timing. And over here, and what I'm going to do is I am going to select this one and I am going to place it a bit here on the right hand side. Okay, so let's select this one. Let's go to the sticker option. And if you do want to decrease the size a little bit, you guys can come here and you guys can just decrease the size a little bit over here as well. Okay, so now again, let's see the preview. So yeah, this one looks good. Again, what I'll do is I'll just come here, place it right over here. And now let's just bring it here on top. Okay, so now let's see. So yeah, this one looks good. I will come here at this ending point as well and join this part as well. Okay, so last thing is going to export option. And from here, just export this as class project 2 and make sure to upload this project into our project panel. Okay, so I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Okay, keep on practicing all of this. I'll be waiting for you guys to send me your work that I can review that and give you guys some suggestions accordingly. Okay, so I'll just select this folder and I'll export it. See you all. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.